no. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Welcome on in. Another live edition here at Bronco Nation News Live at BroncoNationNews.com. It's a Thursday, and that means fresh off another great episode of Ball Talk last night is our man, John Mallory, KTIK 95.3, The Ticket. Ball game. I wish we had some stuff to talk about today. How we doing, man?
Unbelievable. I'm loving life right now. A big weekend coming. The Cowboys and the Giants are playing tonight, so you start the football process right on Thursdays, and it's crazy with the magnitude of Washington State, Boise State. We have other stuff in the A block. It's so crazy. I mean, this tree of stories for the Boise media right now. I mean, you're plucking off just the best possible stories you can have. There's no bottom of the barrel stuff, right, BJ? I mean, they are just right here, and it's a fun time to cover this stuff. And the Pac-12 versus the Mountain West now, the race to find a team, Gloria versus Teresa. Man, I can't get enough. You're constantly pressing refresh, to figure out what's next.
No doubt. We got over 350 people already dialed in watching this right now, so we appreciate all of you, the Pac-12 of interest to a lot of folks out there. So appreciate those of you that have joined the show. We are in the Western Collective Studios here in Meridian, the Bronco Nation News Studios. Again, check out that Horseshoe Golden Ale as well as the Orange Chaos Seltzer. Both of those are available at Albertson Stadium on Saturday. And again, a portion of the proceeds goes to benefit the Horseshoe Collective. And Johnny, I think we got to start with the Pac-12 news last night. And again, you can get your voicemails in. We've already got two of them, Johnny. We'll play those here shortly on the Signature Roofing voicemail line. But late last night, 9:30, 10 o'clock? I don't know, maybe 8:30. It was in the evening. UNLV and Air Force expected to remain in the Mountain West Conference, and that's big news. I mean, it really puts the Pac-12 in a bind here. UNLV, Air Force getting monster payouts, $25 to $30 million in some reports to stay in the conference. And I'm very rarely right, Johnny, but I got to say that I kind of called this one. We were at the press conference on Monday afterwards. I think you were still standing around. I know Prater and Tust were. And I said, what happens now? This is after we found out that Memphis and the American schools were staying. I said, what happens if the Mountain West offers them so much money they can't refuse and says, we'll just give you like $20 million. Just don't leave for 5 years. And what happens? And the Pac-12 would really be in a tough spot. And that's ultimately what's happened here, and it leaves the Pac-12 searching for another school. A lot of options back on the table. Do they go back to the American and try to sweeten the pot with the exit fees to help them come back? Do they have to put a merger back on the table with the Mountain West here again? Or do you just take a UTSA or a Texas State or some FCS school just to get to 8? A lot of options. I don't think any of these, Johnny, is, as I put on Twitter last night, what the Pac-12 expected to happen. I don't think there's any. They probably expected the AAC schools to come and join the conference, and if they didn't, I think they said, at worst case scenario, we'll get those Mountain West schools, no problem. And they underestimated Gloria Nevarez, and the Mountain West is using those exit fees against them, and now the Pac-12 is really in a tough spot here.
What a sweet move, Gloria. Use those exit fees against them, just like you said. And yeah, I mean, because you would think, like, why would UNLV want to do this and stay in the Mountain West? Like, what is advantageous for them other than the bonus? I don't know, really. I don't know what the future media rights deal is going to look like for that league. But, I mean, they're in debt, $25-30 million. They had to make a decision. They're hoping to be the flagship probably of that league. Air Force, too. I don't know if Air Force really even cares. Right? We'll stay here. We're still Air Force. You want to give us $30 million? Coolio. All right, let's just keep doing what we're doing. We're Air Force, and heck, maybe now we'll even have more 10-win seasons than we typically have, and we typically have several 10-win seasons per decade. So we're not really going to do anything there. Well, the thing that stinks for Boise State fans is they're not going to get the UNLV thing, man. And we wanted that. We wanted the Vegas trip. Fans wanted the basketball tournaments. Hopefully they'll still be down there. Won't be at the Thomas and Mack, you would think, but they're not going to get to do the Vegas thing. That's kind of a bummer. And yeah, I don't think that the Pac expected all this. And now they're in a race with the Mountain West. I don't want the merge real quick. That's like Game of Thrones. It's like this amazing story that we're following. And then the last season, it's kind of like, all right, really? Like, you just ended up merging. And honestly, feels like those teams, Boise State, Fresno State, the other teams, they don't want to do football with those other teams anymore. They don't want to merge. This is why they're leaving. They don't want to play football with New Mexico anymore. They want to do like-minded stuff with programs committed to football, fan bases, and that's going to be fun. In my opinion, just looking this on paper, the Pac will be a much better football league than the Mountain West. Year in, year out. Mountain West is not going to get in the way of what Pac-12 is going to do, I think, in the future there, BJ. It will start some rivalries, though. These two conferences won't like each other. That might be kind of fun to cover.
I'm trying to get clarification on this, Johnny, but I have read two different places that Mountain West actually needs two more full-time members.
Okay.
They have 7 football playing schools, but my understanding is, at least reading a couple of the articles, Yahoo and I believe The Athletic said you have to get to 8 full-time members, not just 8 football schools. You have to have 8 full-time members to be represented as a conference. I was under the impression it was 8 football schools. It's so we need to see what that means. But if that's the case, then the Mountain West still needs 2 more, and the Pac-12 still needs 1 more. And I just don't know if anybody, are you going to, these are just, hate to say it, Johnny, but it's just kind of 2 watered down conferences at this point. I just feel like maybe the best option is put them all back together the way it should have been. Pac-12 doesn't have to pay any of the exit fees. Oregon State, Washington State, keep all their money, and it is what it is. And is it sexy? Is it fun? Is it cool? No. Is it better than the Mountain West by itself? If you add in Washington State, Oregon State, yeah, a little bit better. Sure. Why not? But I'm just not sure going down to get Texas State or UTEP or getting a Montana or a Montana State to come up to the FCS or FBS level makes a lot of sense for either of these conferences right now. So I just don't know if it is you're saying you don't want the merger. So is a Texas State as the 8th team better than just putting all 14 of these teams together? I don't know. I still think the play is you got all this money. I don't know if they were trying to be cheap or what, but we saw the reports that the exit fee was they were only willing to pay $2.5 million of the AAC exit fee for Memphis and Tulane and South Florida of like the $20 to $25 million exit fee. You need to go back and say, we'll up that to $15 million or whatever. I mean, start paying more of the exit fee just because, South Florida and Memphis and Tulane committed to the AAC. I don't think they signed any new documents or agreed to anything new. They just said, we're not ready to leave yet.
Yeah.
Things change. I think that is the play, and that would be the one move that really would make this move all worth it for the Pac-12 is to somehow go back to Memphis, go back to South Florida, go back to Tulane, sweeten the pot, and get those teams to join your conference.
Agree. That's my next move. Is there anything you can do to go back and somehow reconvince Memphis, pull a Gloria Navarez, just figure out a way to give them a bunch of money? And I know the Pac-12's, they don't have all this money anymore. I mean, they got to use it for all this other stuff, but Memphis would be huge. And that could save this thing, because the Pac, it's like, they're just continuing to settle. Like, oh, didn't get them. Okay. Well, if they get them, that's going to be okay. Didn't get them. Well, can we get them? And then maybe it'll be still cool. And now it's just like exactly like what you're saying. You'd rather almost just merge and go back and just have one kind of super G5 conference and try to say this is easily the best league. But again, the schools that separated did for a reason. They don't want to do football with those schools anymore, man. And even if you do bring in UTEP, Texas State, UConn, North Texas, Rice, I mean, all those Texas schools, wherever. If you bring UTSA, if you bring one of those teams in and get to 8, I'd still rather do the Pac for me covering this stuff than a super league with the Mount West, because I just, Boise State, all those football games outside of Utah State, Texas State's improving. We'll see what they could do with more resources over time. I mean, week in, week out, I like those football matchups, not the stinkers late night Mountain West in an empty stadium with, teams winning 37-6, that type of thing. I still like that league, BJ. But yeah, Memphis, if you could somehow swing that and totally redeem yourself, right? That's what they got to do, man. Gloria, Teresa, I mean, wow, what a battle this is. And that's an interesting point about the Mountain West needing 2 schools. UTEP, New Mexico State, they don't bring any pop, but they make sense geographically. That's a rival there, natural rival with some other schools dating back to the old WAC days that UTEP was in. That makes some sense, and you could probably get them relatively at an easy price, right? You're not going to have to overspend for those teams, that type of deal. But maybe does the Pac want those teams too? I mean, if you're sitting there and you're Texas State right now, and you have the Pac on one line, you have Teresa Gold calling, and then you check your phone and you're like, oh, Gloria Navarez is calling me too. And you're listening to these deals. It's a pretty good spot to be in if you're the Texas State Bobcats, BJ. You have 2 suitors, and you can kind of take the best deal for you. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, man.
Yeah, Brad Bedell coached at Texas State for was talking about that yesterday. Hey, don't forget, if you're going to the game on Saturday, again, our studio sponsor is Western Collective. Make sure you get out there and check out the Western Collective Horseshoe Golden Ale or their new Orange Chaos Seltzer. Both are available at Albertson Stadium. And again, both a portion of the proceeds go to benefit the Horseshoe Collective to help put money back in the pockets of the student athletes. Check out both their locations, Garden City and downtown Boise. They got full menus, delicious drinks, and you won't be disappointed with the Western Collective group. And again, the Horseshoe Golden Ale and the Blue Orange Chaos Seltzer available at Albertson Stadium. And our title sponsor is rowpaint.com, ROEpaint.com. Check them out, our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. All your concrete coatings, your interior, exterior painting, all your painting needs. Make sure you check out our friends over at rowpaint.com. And Idaho Central Credit Union. Saw Shelby at Shields yesterday with Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Check them out. The best in the business in terms of the online banking experience. Their mobile eBranch online banking, their app is so easy to use. Highly recommend it. Check it out. Idaho Central Credit Union. Again, ICCU.com. All right, Johnny, we got a couple voicemails here I want to get to. And again, folks can leave us a voicemail in the Signature Roofing voicemail inbox, speakpipe.com/BNN. Been having fun with this, and we got a couple on the realignment here. Speakpipe.com BNN /BNN. If you want to get one in here before the show's over, we'll try to go ahead and get that in. So get that in now. We'll try to get it in the system. This was a very brief one from Michael.
Need to ask Memphis again and send more money their way, and then they would come.
Sweet and simple. Michael wants to sweeten the pot for Memphis and get them to join again. And then David, let's play David's here.
So do you go to Texas for 2 more schools? Because I think you need that recruiting footprint. And also the TV market of Texas is sizable, even if you don't have the main schools. And secondly, who does Washington State and Oregon State play next year without a scheduling agreement for football? I don't feel like the Mountain West is going to allow the teams that are leaving to schedule random games in October and November, are they?
Great stuff there, David. Appreciate you for that. Yeah, the official scheduling agreement, Johnny, was for 1 year. I believe there are a couple that already had, previous agreements set to play Mountain West schools next year, I believe.
We'll figure that out.
Schools in Texas, and then what do you make of how Washington State, Oregon State are filling out a schedule next year?
Well, I know the recruiting angle in Texas, but as we talk about on Idaho Sports Talk, and my partner will remind everybody, TV networks don't care about recruiting bases, okay? And what their objective is, the PAC, to find a program or programs that are going to bring TV revenue. It doesn't matter. I mean, I get it for a fan or for a football perspective or for the programs. If you brought 2 Texas schools in, that guarantees you 1 time a year, you are going to Texas in football season. You get there a day early. You catch multiple Friday night games. You probably go to a high school Thursday night game. You dot a lot of I's and cross a lot of T's on a long weekend in Texas. But again, that's not part of this deal. The TV networks don't care about that. That's one thing right there. What everybody is saying, I'm agreeing, you lowballed Memphis. You thought they'd come regardless because you look at the stinking riffraff that is the American Conference right now. Sorry, dude, especially for basketball, and Memphis cares about hoops big time. Your boy, Gary Parrish, does daily sports talk in Memphis. Yep. I would implore anybody to watch his rant a couple days ago saying, really, Memphis? You should have taken that deal. Now you're here in this league. Thing stinks, man. There's no promise coming in the American. So maybe, yes, you lowballed them. Okay, it didn't work. So now let's start the negotiation again. Give Memphis more money. If you have to add somebody else too, or just go for Memphis as your 8th, you do that. I think that's your number one play. That's obviously, BJ, it's going to cost more, and I don't know what their finances are. It's going to cost way more money to get Memphis than it is a Texas directional school or state school, right?
No doubt. Again, we're taking your voicemail, Signature Roofing voicemail inbox. We do that every day here on the show. Again, speakpipe.com/BNN. Johnny, we got a lot of comments coming in on the ICCU YouTube chat as well. Let's get to some of those. I know there are a lot in there as well. They're talking about Boise State. I know you mentioned this on your show a couple days ago. You were taking calls. Did Boise State screw this up? No. Saying should they even? Where's the Ray says should they even stay in the Pac-12?
Yes,
stuck there. But what do you make of what Boise State probably thought they were getting into, these other 4 schools, and whether or not maybe they're second guessing this at some point, seeing how it's turning out?
I don't think they're second guessing it. I mean, okay. Would there be a situation where Boise would have been in Air Force or UNLV's position, where Gloria's got all this money and Jeremiah's like, what's it going to take for us to stay? I mean, like, for example, if Boise State fan, if you were offered $40 million right now, straight cash, homie, or however they're going to work it, they offered UNLV 25 to 30. They offered Boise $40 million. Would you come back and play in that league with those teams and let the others all stay in the pack and they'll go after now and get 2 teams and whatever? I don't know if you would do that. I like this new league. I buy in, Dickie, hook, line, and sinker, BJ, on like-minded football programs. I want football. I want a league where football programs care, fan bases care, BJ, and I see that with this pack. I get it. The end isn't as nice as you thought it would be, but no, I don't think they made a mistake. In my opinion, you could prove me wrong on facts, figures, statistics, data. If you have it saying Boise State would have been better off in the long run staying, but I like the promise and the interest of this new league. And what if they do get Memphis? What if they do totally redeem themselves again? BJ, like, this thing's not over, and it doesn't have to be done this weekend, right? I get it. You don't have a full 2 years because you have to get the television revenue deals going in place, in motion. But this thing doesn't have to be done immediately. It really doesn't. Maybe you give Memphis some time to sit there and be like, okay, really? This is what we're doing? And then maybe all of a sudden you get that, you get Memphis more interested again. I don't know.
Hey, shout out Matt Boucher Real Estate. He's now part of the Boise State home team. So he's an official sponsor at Boise State and obviously a big supporter here at Bronco Nation News. So check him out, BoucherRealEstate.com. Number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason. Again, more information online at BoucherRealEstate.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. Check them out. They got 14 locations around the state of Idaho. And again, download that Skip app. Save up to 40% at the checkout line with our friends at Ridley's Family Markets. Again, online at shopridleys.com. And again, Snake River Pool and Spa, thespateam.com. If you're looking for a hot spring spa for your back patio, they can take care of you. You want the sauna, you want the game room, fill that up with the pool table, billiards, whatever else you're looking for, dartboard, they got you covered there as well. Locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. Been around since 1978, part of the Boise State home team. Again, check them out at Snake River Pool and Spa. And Lithia Florida Boise, they got 6 athletes driving vehicles from Lithia Florida Boise. They take care of Jeremiah Dickey, a lot of the coaches as well. So return the favor. Next time you're looking for that next car or truck, make sure you support our friends out at Lithia Ford Boise. All right, Johnny, a lot of comments coming in here. A lot of people are saying, forget UNLV. Somebody says that I'm just being nostalgic about wanting to go to November trips to Laramie. That's not exactly why I want them to merge. I don't really care about the trips to Laramie. I will miss the Vegas trips though. That is one that that is part of the reason I want UNLV, no doubt, to get 4 or 5 paid work trips to Vegas a year.
Your circa relationship, they're not even going to talk to you. Derek Stevens is erasing your number from his phone. You're dead to him.
I don't think they're going to go quite that far, but that makes it a little tougher, obviously, if they're not playing. Hopefully, they'll at least keep the conference tournament down there. Who knows? I'm not giving up on that, though. I think there's still a chance they merge or something happens there. But you think about it, Utah State, they gave them the option, but if you go back and they gave them the offer and they took it, but if you can go back and get Memphis and get Tulane and get South Florida, like say they somehow pull that off and you end up having 10 teams with the 7 you have in those 3, and that's what you would have been told before it started that you were going to end up with, like, that's pretty good. Like, they're still, like, maybe you'd prefer to have UNLV over Utah State. I mean, I think most people on this chat that are saying no to UNLV would have still taken UNLV over Utah State, and that may have been the perfect scenario. Memphis, South Florida, Tulane, and UNLV as the 4 they add. But if you had, you took Utah State, if you still get the other 3, I think a lot of people would look at that and say that's a pretty nice conference and a obvious upgrade over what the Mountain West was and has, and especially if the Mountain West is going to have to go find 2 more members. But again, I don't know how realistic that is, but I think that, to me, it's either a merger or you go get those teams. I do not think, I just don't know if a UTEP or a Texas State or, something like that really does enough for me to make this conference super sexy. And again,
you'd rather merge, than if you heard it was Texas State.
It comes down to TV dollars. Like how much, what
you're right.
What TV exec is going to give you a lot of money for adding Utah State and Texas State as your last 2 teams? Like, nothing against those schools, but I don't know if they're going to, I don't know. I mean, Prater said something on your guys' show, like he's not even sure they're going to get as much money as they got in the previous deal. If you're a Boise State, when you factor in the extra money, like you've got to bring in teams, you've got to do something to make the total TV package more attractive than what it is right now. And I don't know if a Texas State or a UTEP does, or one of those teams does that. I think you have to find a way to get Memphis, South Florida, Tulane, or at least Memphis and Tulane. I know your man Mike Sanford's not a huge fan of adding Memphis, but I just think there's there's multiple options, but it's got to be under the lens of what gets us the most money, what gets us at least what we were making in the previous deal. And I think those two options are merge or find a way to get Memphis and company.
It's interesting you say that. I mean, so just like from a media rights revenue perspective, would Boise State and the other teams, Washington State, all those teams, would they make more if they all merged and then all of a sudden that league, the Mountain West, the Pac Mount, the Mount Pac, whatever it is?
Everyone hates my idea, by the way. There's like 10.
I know. I don't want this merge either. I'm just having fun with this. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So if they can all get more money, because there would be no competition, it'd be the Mountain West and that's it out west. Now, are you hinting at now that there's two leagues?
Still.
Okay, fine. But now that there's two leagues, there's a Pac and a Mountain. Those two leagues are fighting for television revenue, media rights money. So are you saying that both of them fighting will water down what they're both going to get? And Boise State and all these teams are going to get less. I hope that's not the case. Obviously, Jeremiah Dickey doesn't think that's the case. I would imagine that they're still going to make more money. They only have to cut the piece of pie in 8 pieces as opposed to this mega thing that you're talking about too. What if you can't get Memphis, but you can get Tulane and UTSA? I mean, does it have to be Memphis? What if Tulane and UTSA are like, screw Memphis, this is a better league, we want to do this? That's cool too, right? It doesn't have to be Memphis east of Texas, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I guess I guess
you do that. Yeah, maybe that's less of a buyout. Maybe Tulane won't ask for as much. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't think this thing has to be done in 24 or 48 hours unless of course Gloria's on the phone and she's going after these teams and Teresa's like, dang, dude, I got to find a team because Gloria is going to beat me to the punch. They're both racing for teams here. It's interesting.
Chase Love says I must have had too many Western Collective beers this morning. No, this is Diet Dr. Pepper.
DJ wants to merge. I know. Yeah.
Well, okay, just tell me this right now, Johnny. Say they get Tulane and UTSA, and that's your 9 teams, I guess. Just if that's it, if you could pull that off, is those 9 teams TV package better than a TV package that just has Washington State, Oregon State, and the other 12 teams? It sounds like you think it would be.
Yeah, because you don't have to cut the piece of pie in as many slices, right? I mean, name me 2 teams from the future Mountain West that you'd want in the pack. I mean,
Bill
guess
wants Tarleton State and Waco State.
Yeah, you're gonna say UNLV, but I want UNLV for Vegas, not for that program, right? I mean, Mariota will be gone in 3 months probably anyway. We'll see.
That's I think Air Force has a little bit of cachet with
they don't travel. There's no buzz. There's no diehard fan base. Like for me, for Boise State fan, Utah State's good for Boise. You kick their ass in football every year, and it's an easy game to travel to. And then every year in basketball, I'm talking fans, not TV. Every year in basketball, Boise State fans and Utah State fans will be like, yeah, I'm glad we're still in their league because those games are nasty and they're competitive. And basketball for fans, many of them, obviously, that counts too. So I like Utah State just from a Boise State perspective. Air Force, to me, talk radio guy, doesn't necessarily do that. But
this guy's Chris says, I honestly never thought I would hear BJ suggest a merger. 95% of Boise State fans hate the idea. I would, if you can get Memphis and Tulane and South Florida or some of those schools like you're mentioning, that's fine. I would much rather have that. I'm just saying I'm not sure a Texas State as your 8th school is any better than just looping everybody back together and making it out west this conference. If
you can get every school more money, then they will explore that. Or is the bridge completely destroyed between Gloria and Teresa? It wouldn't get personal.
If you're Oregon State and Washington State, though, like you royally screwed this up, dude. You're paying $150 million to the Mountain West, which may come down a little bit because of the lawsuit, but you're paying a lot of money to the Mountain West to get Texas State and Utah State and some of these schools, like to be your big power conference. Like that's part of what I'm saying here. Like I think that they should have just kept the $100 million to themselves and join the Mountain West and reverse merge it and call it the Pac-12. Like if you're Oregon State and Washington State, like I know you've gotten screwed a lot by the whole conference realignment and them leaving you there for the dead. But I don't know why you're paying this much money unless you're getting a really, really nice, attractive conference. And I just don't think that's necessarily the case right now.
Maybe you played the hand you were dealt. You had a pretty good hand pre-flop. Flop comes and you're like, God damn, I didn't get hooked up there. I got to figure out my next move. Maybe that's it in the poker game of life for these two schools. If you could maybe rip all this up and do that, fine. That'd be okay. But I talked to a lot of Washington State fans, and I mean, I know the money is one thing. Fans aren't necessarily talking about the money aspect. They're just talking about the future of their program that they love and the emotion that it gives them in their life. And a lot of Cougar fans I know are actually kind of excited about this. And this has been a fan base that has been more depressed than any other fans in my life the past year. All of a sudden, like, they're waking up in the morning and the birds are singing and the sun's shining again, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves. And for them, I mean, if they had to go back and merge and do all that, I don't know, man. Maybe that'd be okay with them too, but you got to add the other teams. What if you get Gonzaga on a basketball basis as well? So you cover some bases there with hoops. Would Gonzaga be more prone to come to this pack than BJ's super conference? Maybe, maybe not. I think Gonzaga probably would. They'd like, and we'll see about the money. That's what this is about. I mean, would the BJ Super League give these teams all more money than what the pack's going to get? Only having to cut
I'm not saying
8 times.
I'm not saying 100% you have to merge. I'm just saying if you can't get Memphis, you can't get Cal and Stanford to come back, you can't get some of these more high-profile teams. I'm just not sure if a UTSA or a UTEP or a Texas State as an 8th team is any better than just merging together. That's all I'm saying. I'm not 100% saying you have to merge. They need to merge. They're idiots if they don't merge. I'm just saying I don't know if a Texas State as your 8th team makes it all that much better if they would have just grouped everything together. Are
you hearing is how possible you like to play the odds? What would you say the odds are that the BJ Super Conference merge happens?
20%.
Okay. 5-1.
Yeah, I don't think it happens probably.
Okay. But it is in play.
I think it has to be. Again, you just have to weigh your 8th team and weigh your TV deal versus, common sense at some point. But again, I get it. I get all the comments in there. You're getting rid of the bottom feeders, Wyoming, New Mexico, Hawaii. You're splitting the pot with more teams that don't bring any value.
Teams that care about football. The other teams don't. This new Mountain West, BJ, that's going to be a crappy football league, dude. It's going to be like Conference USA. Basketball, fine, whatever, but I don't think you want to team up with those guys unless it's going to somehow give you much nicer financial, a much nicer financial package. Other than that, I mean, you got away from those guys for a reason. You don't want to play ball with them anymore. You want to take football seriously, and you don't feel that those schools do.
There is a big game on Saturday on the Blue, Johnny. Let's talk about that here in just a second. TacoBellWorks.com. If you're looking for a job at a Treasure Valley-owned Taco Bell location, you can apply at TacoBellWorks.com. Check them out. SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, doing a ton for the community. And again, the food is delicious and cheap and awesome as well. So whether you're looking for a meal for the family, looking to apply for a job, make sure you check out our friends at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Speaking of jobs, TranscomService.com can help you get into the trucking industry, whether you're trying to start your own trucking company or just trying to apply for a trucking company. You need to have all those permits and things up to date and taken care of. So let the professionals at Transportation Compliance Service help you out. They're a local company from the Treasure Valley here, helping folks all over the world. Check them out online, TranscomService.com. It is a blue out on Saturday. Make sure you get that gear at the Blue and Orange store. Travis Hawks and Company got some great deals going on right now. Check them out. That clearance rack right there in the front of the store, the daily deals. Highly recommended. There's a lot of places I know around town to buy your Boise State gear, but the best selection, the best price, and the shop that frankly has been around since it began back in 2006. Make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store, theblueandorangestore.com. Again, second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall right there next to Pro Image, or online anywhere in the world at theblueandorangestore.com. Our friends at Jackson remind you, if Ahmed Hassanin gets a sack on Saturday, you get a 91-cent coffee or fountain drink at Jackson's. All the Treasure Valley locations, 91 cents for a coffee or fountain drink if Ahmed Hassanin gets a sack. And if Breezy Dubar gets back this week and gets in the end zone, you get the Breezy bundle for $1 on Tuesdays, a soda and a hot dog for $1 on Tuesdays if Breezy Dubar gets in the end zone. And don't forget, 25% from every hot dog sold 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at any local Treasure Valley Jackson's location. 25 cents from every hot dog goes to support the Horseshoe Collective to help the student athletes at Boise State and put money back in their pockets. So check them out, our sponsor at Jackson's. And speaking of food, don't forget about Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com, 10,000 plus combinations of meals. It's healthy, it's easy, and the best part is they deliver anywhere in the Treasure Valley. So no excuse not to eat healthy with our friends at Lean Feast. And again, steak, shrimp, fish, you name it, all different kinds of diets. They're good for 5 days in your refrigerator. So you can order on Monday, have your meals for the week. And all it is 2 minutes in the microwave and you're ready to rock and roll. So appreciate Dave and company. Saw the football players walking out with it the other day. They're eating it once or twice a week. The basketball team's eating it once or twice a week. Highly recommend Lean Feast, leanfeastmeridian.com. All right, Johnny, heck of a challenge on the blue, heck of a game on the blue. You look at what's going on with the UNLV quarterback situation. They had a backup running back depart as well. That's still going to be a tough game. And we'll see, with the backup quarterback, what he can do. Because frankly, the starter was under 50% passing. He was a good runner, but it wasn't like he was some amazing throwing, quarterback. So we'll see how much of a downgrade the backup really is for UNLV. But you look at the biggest, roadblocks, hurdles left on this schedule to try to go 11-1 and get in the playoff. I mean, Saturday might be the toughest game left. Maybe at UNLV is going to be a tough one as well. But in terms of one of the hardest games left on the schedule, it is Saturday night, and that place is sold out. It's going to be rocking, a ton on the line. Should be a lot of fun.
12-1. Boise State would have to be, obviously, because you got to win the conference championship. Sorry, as you know. Sanford said last night on Ball Talk that, and he's watched Mateer closely with his eye, and he thinks this is the best quarterback this defense will face since Michael Penix, and that includes Dylan Gabriel. So Mateer's hot right now, BJ, and this matchup, neither of these defenses have played well this season. So I think we could be in line for this fantastic Pac-12 after dark shootout, I hope. But yeah, dude, if you just look at the schedule, and again, things do happen, but if we're just looking at the schedule based on our current information on this season, this is the toughest game you're going to play. Washington State Cougars, they're ranked 26th, right? No one else on the schedule is ranked, not even UNLV, I believe right now, BJ, and they're undefeated with 2 power road wins. That'll be difficult as well. That's also on the road. Factor that in. This game is at home, but there are CFP implications in this game. I know, dude, it sounds crazy, but I talked to Washington State fans, as I said. Look at their schedule. This is by far their biggest roadblock. After this, they have a trip to Fresno, okay? Other than that, they are favored in every game. And Mateer going against crappy defenses on most nights. Mateer's numbers this year are going to be crazy. Wazoo's got all these quarterbacks with these passing stats. Mateer all of a sudden is going to bring maybe a 1,500-yard year rushing season, 1,200-yard rushing season from the quarterback position. For the Cougs, if they win this game, they'll be ranked. And then all of a sudden, dude, 11-1, 10-2 probably at worst. 11-1 maybe, but 12-0 is in play. The Cougs cannot qualify for an auto bid. They have to be an at-large bid, BJ. If they're 12-0 with the sentimental factor, they're probably going to be in the tournament if they're 12-0. They need to win this game. Boise State, as you detailed, right? I mean, they need to be 12-1, no worse than 11-2, and 11-2 still a little shaky if your losses are to the best two teams you played. Don't let the committee say, yeah, Boise's 11-2. They look great. But, I mean, their two losses are to Oregon and Washington State, the only two ranked teams they played all year, if that's the case, BJ. So this is such a monster game for both teams. It does feel like the winner of this game, BJ, a little bit can put this thing into cruise control, focus on the task at hand, and it looks like the path isn't the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, Washington State's already beaten 2 Power 5 teams in Texas Tech and Washington here.
Yeah.
The fourth down stand against Washington. I know it's not the same Washington of years old, but that was a heck of a finish to that game. Then
this
they go
is a 10-win team, BJ, this year. This Cougar team, I see, this is a 10-win team, I think.
I mean, they play Hawaii. You mentioned at Fresno, at San Diego State, but they've got Utah State at home. They got a lot of road games coming up, though. They're 1, 2, 3, 4. They still got 5 road games left out of their last 8 games. So, keep that in mind as well. They've got Hawaii, Utah State, and Wyoming at home. Those are obviously going to be wins. Probably.
What are the road games?
At Oregon State, at New Mexico, at San Diego State, at Fresno State, at Boise State. So five road games left. But you're probably right. 10-2 is probably in play here. And obviously, I know we've been talking a lot about it, man, but finding a way to slow down, John Mateer, already 1,100 passing yards, 400 rushing yards. I mean, this is a top 20, rushing yard total in the entire country for all players, Johnny. I mean, this is, you put him in there with the running backs of the world. He's the number 20 or 19 or 18, whatever it is, leading rusher in the entire nation. And, he's also got 1,100 passing yards as a quarterback. You take out the Navy quarterback and the Army quarterback, he's got the most rushing yards of any quarterback in America right now. And so, in terms of like true, pocket passers, not option quarterbacks like the academies. So I know Prater had the stat. Who was the one guy, by the way? I know he said in the last 50 games, only one quarterback has rushed for 100 yards against Boise State. I saw his tweet. Who was that?
Dude, it was the UCLA guy in the bowl game. That's it.
Just now, the quarterback for UCLA? Wow.
Yes. It was Garbers? The UCLA guy. Was it Garbers?
Garbers,
it was the backup, or the guy who started, then the backup came in and won MVP. They had 2 quarterbacks that played. It was him. I mean, I
don't remember
they
him.
Can beat you. They can beat you both ways, Wazoo. Look at this offense, how balanced it is. They can run and they can throw. Kyle Williams, you'll hear his name a lot. Hopefully our boy Bob pronounces that pretty easy. Kyle Williams, right? Shout out to our boy Bob. He'll be able to, he's going to get a lot of touches. They can run the ball as well. Their running back, I think, is a true freshman. He's not bad either. I think he's averaging 5 yards a carry. Eric Shenander, Spencer Danielson, this Boise State defense. Wow, what a challenge for them on Saturday night. And flip side, Washington State as well. The Cougs had a hard time stopping that San Jose State Ken Niumatalolo attack. Well, I'm sorry, no disrespect. I love Nick Nash as well, but Boise State is a completely different offensive animal. And this game is on the road. This game has the south end zone factor of Albertson Stadium. All those things. This will be a much tougher environment for John Mateer than even the Apple Cup neutral site. Hell, there were more Cougar fans at that game, I think, than Huskies. So this is a completely different atmosphere animal, BJ. So you got to factor all that in too. But what a matchup. I can't believe we're not talking about it more, but I get it. But this game can't get here quick enough.
And what the over-under is only like 64, 65 too. Like that seems super low, man.
Gosh. Yeah, right. I mean, you'd think 37.5 and you're thinking, okay, both teams, 67.5, something like that, where both teams are going to get around 35, 40 points. Yeah.
Washington State just gave up, 52? How many points did they give up to San Jose State? I mean, they just gave up 52 points. I know it went double overtime, but 52 points to San Jose State. And Boise State's coming in with a top 10 offense in the country. And, one area to look at is rush defense. Jeff Schmedding in his past, former Boise State, assistant coach, has had trouble stopping the run at times. And you look at the numbers right now, Washington State is number 84 against stopping the run. So you have to think that Ashton Genty could have a big game on Saturday.
25 touches for Genty this game. This is a Heisman opportunity. This will have some national buzz, certainly compared to other teams on Boise State's schedule moving forward. Ashton Jeanty needs to run with the night, right? He needs to be dominating social media with another 70-yard spectacular touchdown run, and this needs to be a Jeanty game. Give the ball to your best players, ride his butt, post U.S. mail sticker right on his ass, and give him the ball 20, 25 times this game, and just make Wazoo say at the end of the game, holy shnikes, he's just too good. We just didn't have an answer for him. Control the damn clock. Keep John Mateer's butt on the sidelines with that offense. There's so many different angles here, but ultimately, yes, if Ashton Jeanty is the best player on the field, how about this? Whoever the best player on the field is, maybe that guy's team will win. If Mateer has the best night or Jeanty has the best night, whoever steals the show, maybe you could go with that team. The line, is it like 6.5 in Boise State's favor still?
It got up to 8 at one point. It's been going
up. Can't believe that. Wow. Okay. Maybe this is a Bronco blowout. And Vegas knows something, and they're teasing everybody to take that 8 points with Wazoo, saying, oh, God. And all of a sudden, this is going to be the Ashton Jeanty show, and Boise State's just the better team. And maybe we'll see that on Saturday night.
Couple areas for me, Johnny. I mean, Boise State, you mentioned Mateer, like you have to get off the field on third down. Boise State, one of the worst teams in the country right now. They rank 129th. They're giving up almost 50% of third down conversions to the opposing team, 129th in the country. So for me, this game comes down to, can Boise State's defense get off the field on third down? Can they keep Mateer from scrambling on 3rd and 6 and moving the chains? You have to get off the field on third down, which has been a big problem this year for Boise State's defense. And then they've got to continue what they're doing in terms of getting in the red zone and getting touchdowns. They're one of the best red zone teams in the country. I know Prater's talked about it, but 15 for 15 in the red zone. And more impressive is 13 touchdowns out of that 15. So I think when you get in the red zone, you get a chance to get touchdowns. You got to take advantage of it. And then you got to get off the field on third down. And you need some turnovers. No interceptions yet for the secondary. Like, you need some interceptions. You got to go to field position. You got to win the special teams battle too. Like, I had a one-on-one with James Ferguson Reynolds. I'll be playing that on the pregame show on Saturday. Like, you got to be better in the punting game. Got to be better in the return game. Special teams will be a big part of this game. But third down defense, scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and being better on special teams and getting some takeaways. And I know that sounds like the recipe to win every game you ever play, but in a game like this, that's probably going to come down to, maybe a last-second field goal or a last, fourth quarter. It's still going to be a game. You got to those key areas, I think, are big. But final thing, Johnny, just the important, this game, one of the bigger games on the Blue. You guys got a big show coming up today, tomorrow, getting ready for it. But just overall, this game, the importance of it, the Spencer Danielson era, the momentum they're building with these sellouts, the excitement around town, just, how do you put it all into a 60-second soundbite here, what we're going to see on Saturday?
I think you just did very, very well, man. Like, everything you said, this is it. A night game under the lights, the laser shows, and the best player in the history of your program is hungry. He didn't get to play the second half last week. He is charged. He is juiced, man. And he wants to go and show America, hello, Heisman. That is worth the price of admission right there. Ashton Jeanty, I'll just throw, maybe the most exciting running back in America is going to be playing at Albertson Stadium. And I'll just say, can I say a top 10 most exciting quarterback in America is also going to be playing at Albertson Stadium in John Mateer. Maybe even I could say top 5 in that conversation. Wild card, though. If Maddox Madsen plays well, Boise State's going to win. If he doesn't, Boise State's going to lose. And as Prater likes to call it, quarterback palooza. Hello.
What do we got coming up today on Idaho Sports Talk? I know Spencer Danielson's going to be talking. Stacey Collins, that's going to be an interesting one that a lot of people want to hear from. James Montgomery, Tyler Stockton as well. I'm sure you'll be all over the coach audio today.
Oh, heck yeah, BJ. One of the best college quarterbacks I've ever seen is coming on the show tonight at 5:00, and he has some serious thoughts on this game. Guess who I'm talking about? a guy who had some serious stake in this game, means something to him. And he's one of the best college quarterbacks I've ever seen.
As soon as you say it, I'm going to know who it is. Who we got?
Ryan Leaf, 5 p.m. today.
That'll be fun.
On Idaho Sports Talk. Ryan Leaf. Yes, sir,
right,
BJ. You'll be on tomorrow. You'll be on tomorrow.
3 to 6 today, Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK.com, the app, 1350 AM, 95.3 FM, all the ways you can listen. Again, Spencer Danielson, his final thoughts ahead of the game. We'll get those posted to the YouTube channel after they're done, shortly in the afternoon. Stacey Collins, James Montgomery, Tyler Stockton talking as well. And again, we'll get them on the YouTube channel, but they'll have bites for you as well coming up on Idaho Sports Talk today. So listen to them 3 to 6. And then Jay Tust and I will be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks to JP for getting us on the air. Thanks to our man John Mallory there as well. Have a great rest of your day, and check the YouTube channel later this afternoon. Hit that like button before you get out of here. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by RowPaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.